So people have a standard of living.
Yeah.
One of the things that me and James had to learn to have is a standard of saving, a standard of investing. You have to
Yeah.
have a standard in life, right? All of us have a standard in our lifestyle. There are things that we like that we know we do not want to compromise on. The same thing we have to look at ourselves. What kind of future do you want? And you have to have a standard for that because nobody wants to work for 40 years of their life to come down to the point where they had to downgrade
I
in
know. That's
money
what's
goals.
scary. It's
Right.
read
That's
the
the
articles
scary part.
about you read, baby boomer generation, which lived relatively well, trying to survive off 1,000 a month,
Yeah. And
$1,000 a month. It's like
it's
Can't do it.
scary.
full of cars. You had a big house. You had this, and now it's like $1,000 a month. Oh man.
Yeah. So every time me and James will have some sort of a bonus in the business or more money than we typically will see, we ask ourselves, okay, how much of it are we going to allow ourselves to have fun with? And how much of this are we going to be putting away and where and why? Those types of things. Because over time is some of those things that may be a luxury for some people to be able to have, or maybe like holiday money. The holidays are going to come up now in the next couple of months. This is
Yeah.
money that you typically don't have. Are you going to be putting it away? What are you going to be doing? Being aware of those types of things too.
Yeah. Or you have kids like we do, and it seems like there's a birthday every 2 weeks.
That part.
Or you guys are young. You're younger. You're in that stage where it seems like everyone's getting married every
Oh
couple
yeah.
of months.
Yeah.
It's, oh
Yep.
man, more
More gifts.
I read in an article that every time you go to a wedding, it's about $600. It costs $600 because
That's
you're
kind of
giving a wedding
conservative.
present, everything, right? It's just crazy.
It's funny. I'm just like, I wish it was just like, what's wrong with just the backyard, lots of food, make it special. Everything has to
Yeah.
be such a production now. Everything is a production. I don't
Everything's
know.
for the gram.
I know, and that's that too, right? Everything's for the gram. Part of this podcast was trying to, what kind of world do you want for your kids? And so I want to engage this social media on my terms. What can I do to reach out to people? And when I saw what you guys do, finance is just, it's intimidating. You're not shown all the cards. It's hard. Some people feel like they need to make a certain amount. And let me ask you that, like some people are really living paycheck to paycheck. How little can you start putting away or to accumulate wealth? What avenues would you recommend? A savings? Would you recommend an IRA? Or would you recommend investing or getting together with a group of people? I'll just say one more story. I have a friend who's literally a prison guard in the Midwest, and he invested in I think it's some kind of condominium complex with a group of investors. And he did that for a couple of years, and he learned a lot. And now he actually bought his own apartment complex through an LLC that he started. That was his education. That built his confidence. What can the average Joe Blow or Jane Blow do with whatever pennies they're making to try to enter this field?
Yeah. You want to answer that?
Yeah, you can start as little as a couple of dollars to however much you need, right? I think this the biggest thing in this. The first thing you have to just at least do is talk to somebody, because
Right.
you can have all of this money and maybe still do the wrong thing,
Right.
not realizing it. I'll give you an example. Just like me and James back then when we first started as nurses, we were like, okay, we're going to do this thing and we've never seen money like this before. We're going to max our 401ks, right? We did that 23,000 every year for 5 years. And it was good money, but then we were thinking in our mind, we were going to do that to be able to buy a house. And so the time came that we were looking at houses and we qualified for X amount of dollars. And we go to the mortgage person. I call my 401k place and they go, and I said, hey, I need this much money. And they go, if you need that much money, you're only going to be really able to take out half. And I said, well, that's not enough.
Right.
That's not enough for what we wanted. So there was a disconnect in the goal and what we were doing. So I think just being able to talk to somebody and figure out the goal first. Because a lot of people do this whole thing blindly. And they expect big results with having put in little, or they expect some sort of result, even though they've put a lot and it just doesn't meet the expectation. Because there's so many different avenues out there. Looking back at what we were doing before, we could have done a different strategy. We could have done something different with that money, and we could have bought the house that we wanted back there. But things happen for a reason, no regrets or anything like that. That was a learning lesson.
Yeah.
Not one type of investment will work for everybody. It's not a one size fit all. It's what do you need and what are you willing to be able to do for it?
Yeah. And I think it feeds
Yeah.
into that self-audit. What can you live without? What adjustments you can make? I think that's important.
Yeah. Because IRA, the way we look at these things like IRA, 401k, wells, all of those things, pensions, they're not one more important than the other. It's
Yeah.
all driving a car. I'm not going to tell you, Glenn, that your wheels are more important than your steering wheel. And they're all
Right.
important. Okay? We all need them to be able to move forward in life. It's just what is most feasible for your lifestyle. I'm not here to take away things from people. Right.
Right.
Let's learn to reallocate and figure out what's going to get you to where you need to be the fastest, maybe.